Hey guys, welcome back to Overbite Gaming, and it's happened. We have had the details, the prices, the release dates drop for both next-gen consoles, and it's interesting. It really is, for some reason. So basically, the PS5 is coming, as was previously reported, as a digital and a physical media version. Physical media version will run you $500, and the digital version will cost you £100 less, so it'll be or bucks less, 400 for that one. And the Xbox Series X has taken a different tact, which we also know about, in that we have the Xbox One X for 500, matching the price of the non-digital PS5, and also a cut-down version, so the Series S, I believe it's called, which will run you 300, which is $200 less, and $100 less than the digital version of the PS5. But this is interesting. With the PS5, the only difference is that physical disc. Now, in my opinion, because it's always right, the physical drive makes the console look worse because it's like this bulge on one side of it that makes it asymmetrical. And my recent experience with Amazon not being able to get me pre-ordered discs to my house on release date is kind of making me think, well, what the fuck do we need that for? Why do we need a drive anymore? Unless you want to watch Blu-rays, but it's going digital, man. What do you want? So, yeah, I mean, if I'm going to get anything, it will be a PS5, and it will be the PS5 digital edition. So, there's that. I mean, it's slightly... They have actually taken into account pounds and dollars aren't the same thing for once. So, I think it's about $370 around about there for purchase in the UK, or will be when it's available. They both come out in November. I think it ranges. I mean, you've got a few release dates. You basically, a few countries get it, and then the rest of the world gets it. And it's pretty much right away with, I think the Xbox just pips it, but it's not like last gen where the Xbox had a bit of a lead time on it. Now, the Xbox, the way they're doing it, to get their console around $300, which is a good price, is it's not as powerful. It's not the same thing inside the box on both of them. The Xbox Series X is massively more powerful. I think it's like 12 teraflops graphical processing power, but we all know that's no real metric to measure because it's about how you're able to put that power to the floor and actually make use of it. And the S is like 4, I think, from what I recall. So the S is looking at 1440p 60 frames per second, and the X is the X is looking at 4K for 60 frames a second. I mean, we still don't have any specifics on what type of graphics card either of them have. We just told it's an RDNA 2, which is obviously a Navi graphics card, but it's a custom one, so who knows what it is. We've got some numbers on performance and stuff like that. One of the concerns I have for both consoles is the Xbox ships with 1 terabyte and the PlayStation ships with like 825, which is probably 1 terabyte, but with the operating system taken off of it. So that's not very much when you consider that games can take between 100 and 200 gig to install. For those that don't know, a terabyte is roughly, I mean, very roughly, I mean, it's like 1024, something around that, gig. So you're talking possibly 5 games. Now, they've come out and said, well, it's not that big, but developers are becoming much better at compressing games and stuff like that. Which, I mean, they've shown a few games and they've managed to decrease it slightly. Now, I don't believe that's going to remain that way for long, because what they'll do is if they have the extra room, they'll use it. And let's face it, not all developers are going to go through the hassle of compressing it as well as other ones. So the drive space does concern me, and what concerns me even more is both of them are utilizing that to speed up the performance of the game through streaming assets from the drive. So that means if you do replace it or add another one, you're going to need to make sure that the M.2 drive that you're putting in there is fast. And they can be relatively expensive. I think 1 terabyte M.2 that does 5 gig I know it's like 5 gig and 10 compressed, they're stating the transfer rate is. I'm not sure about the compression protocol, but 5 gig will run you about £170, £180. So somewhere sort of just under 200. And that's just for 1 gig, so it's essentially the same one that's in there. So if you want more, and they do go up pretty badly in terms of storage capacity. I mean, I don't have an M.2 myself. I'm running off of HDDs and regular SSDs, primarily because I've got 6 SATA devices, and if I use the M.2 slot on my motherboard, it knocks off 2 of them, which is always annoying. So I basically lose 2 high capacity drive to gain 1 much faster drive but lower capacity. Yeah, it doesn't work for me. But anyway, that's by the by. So it's very interesting to see what's going to happen. I mean, I've looked on the website, and Xbox are coming out with their own proprietary sort of expansion that goes in a port on it, at least for the X. I'm not sure about the S, where it will work just like the solid state drive in there already. So you don't need to worry about it being too slow for streaming. They both support USB hard drives, but presumably not for games if they're utilizing the speed of the storage as part of the way that it runs the game. So it's very interesting. I mean, I don't know about Xbox's strategy here. I mean, I'm not going to get myself an Xbox anyway because I have Game Pass and a solid PC. So I get the brand new Xbox games as they release for my £10 a month or whatever it is, £7 a month subscription. So I'm not really considering buying an Xbox like I did last gen. So that's a kind of a non-runner for me, but it's also kind of concerning because, like, okay, $300 is $200 less, so it's not an inconsiderate amount of money. But do you really want to be that guy on the playground saying he's got a Series S? I'm not sure. I mean, don't get me wrong, 1440p 60 is perfectly good. I mean, my monitor is 144 hertz, but it is 1440p. My TV is 4K, but I tend to use the monitor just because I have a nice chair. Well, it's all right. So I don't know if the people that want the Xbox are going to be like buying the poor cousin. I mean, $200 is significant. But at the end of the day, if you've got money to spend on a console, maybe you could like wait an extra birthday, or maybe do a paper route. It's $200 isn't an unsurmountable difference to get the bigger one. Whereas on the PlayStation side, you're saving only $100, but you're getting exactly the same console. You're just having to download the games. So as long as you have a good internet connection, that makes a whole bunch more sense to me because you're not losing anything performance related. So, it's a tricky one, isn't it? And of course, on the PC side, the RX 3080's come out, and we have been confirmed that we will be getting the same streaming technology implemented via that. So that's nice to see the PC guys aren't getting the short end of the stick for once. So when it comes to games, I mean, Sony have confirmed that their games will be going up. At least their AAA games, we can expect to pay £70 for them, or $70. I wish I could say I'm surprised. It was kind of on the cards anyway. What with Ubisoft and various other developers announcing the price hike ahead of time. So, yeah, there's where your money goes. You say maybe you should save that £200. But a lot of the PlayStation, some of the PlayStation announcement games are going to be cross-generation. So Spider-Man Miles Morales, that's also coming to the PS4. So you don't want to upgrade immediately, which I do not. And there's like 2 games in their lineup that interest me, and that is God of War Ragnarok and Spider-Man Miles Morales. So maybe I'll get that on PS4. I don't know yet. I certainly wouldn't consider grabbing the console right at the start because it's going to be very difficult to find, I imagine, especially the digital one, because it just makes so much more sense to me at any rate. They have confirmed that there will be, I can't remember the name of the service, so I'm shit, but there will be a digital sort of store that's including your PlayStation Plus subscription, which will allow you to play PlayStation 4 games, and you'll have a whole library at launch, apparently, where you can just download them and play them, and I mean, essentially it functions like Game Pass, but you will not be getting new games on it. Sony have been very clear on that fact. The new games will be coming out for you to purchase. So even if you're subscribed on PlayStation Plus and have all the extras, I don't know if it's going to cost any more. You won't be getting access to new games. You'll just be getting like the old ones that form part of their library, which I don't know. I don't think it's very compared to like Game Pass. That's terrible. But they've specifically said we're not going down the Game Pass route, so it's not surprising. So yeah, that's just I don't know how to feel. I really don't. I like the fact that they've cut the prices on the consoles. I'm not a fan of the fact they've increased the prices on the games, and there's just not much. I'm sat there looking at going, yeah, I want to buy a new console to do that. But you don't. So, but for me, I think, as I say, I'm not sure if Xbox strategy of like having a poor cousin is going to work. I mean, you will get, oh, excuse me, you will get people buying them. Obviously, £200, well, $200 off is significant, but at the end of the day, it's still a lot of money you're putting down, and it's significant, but it's not unobtainable. You could get $200 if you wanted to put towards the higher level Xbox. I mean, the PlayStation 1 makes more sense because you're saving money and you're getting exactly the same console, just sans the disk drive, which makes it look ugly anyway. Anyway, guys, tell me down below what you thought about these announcements. Which one do you plan to get? And I'll try and argue with you why you shouldn't get an Xbox. No, I love Xbox. I mean, like last generation, I actually got the PS4 and the Xbox on the same day. The PS4 and the Xbox One, they literally arrived at my place the same day, and that was a pretty good day. I can't lie. But yeah, I mean, I played the Xbox more initially because it was my first Xbox. I was just like, how does this work? Oh, this is okay. I like the controller better. Yay. But yeah, I mean, as a console release, I think it's both are pretty good options. They're fast, they're powerful, suspiciously so. Um, and they're priced reasonably. I mean, even if you just bought the top tier one, 500 is like slap bang in the estimate of like what we thought it was. I mean, it was going to be like, we're thinking between 4 and 6 and some higher. I mean, when you heard about its graphical capabilities, we were like, Jesus Christ, no way is that coming out for like 500 buckaroos. That's going to be like 900 at least. But no. But I mean, it's just so fascinating. I mean, this would also be the first time like the public get their hands on RDNA 2, which that's going to be interesting. It'll be even more interesting when they actually announce their cards, which is coming in October. So it's all up in the air, lads. I mean, the RTX 3080 is, you can't get one from what I've seen. It's like places just don't have them to give you. It's not unexpected. It's really not unexpected when you get that much bang for your buck, but it's very interesting. I can't wait to see what AMD do in terms of graphics. I mean, they're always going to be on like a disadvantage because the drivers aren't great and they're not trusted. So people will be like, "Oh, it is good, but I won't get it because I don't want to deal with their drivers." And I totally get that, and I'm one of those people. I'm certainly not looking at upgrading this generation. Hopefully, I mean, I've got my 2080 Super until it starts really chugging and I have to turn games way down. Then I'll consider doing it, but just for the performance hit that I'm not trying to achieve. If it's 60, 1440p, that's okay. That's playable. Whatever. I mean, I'd like it to be 1440p, 144, but in some games releasing, that's just unobtainable, even with a 2080. Like getting something with RTX on, ray tracing, at 144, yeah, that's probably not going to happen unless it's just not graphically intense at all, like CSGO, but that doesn't have ray tracing. Anyway, I think I've waffled on enough about the consoles. I'm not sure about the PlayStation controller either. I really wish they'd switch the D-pad and the analog stick around, because it just makes more sense. Because when they first designed the pad to have the analog stick down the bottom, you were using the D-pad more predominantly. But now you just use that for fucking, inventory and resetting cameras and, navigation markers and shit like that. You're actually playing on the stick. So it just makes more sense that if that's the best position to have put that pad, that's where the stick should be. But then again, it's going to look like an Xbox pad if you do that. So I don't know. I'm interested in getting my hands on one of the new Xbox controllers. I really like the Xbox One controller. It's my controller of choice. So if I don't get an Xbox, I'll probably get a controller. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, let me know down below. Don't forget to tell me what you think of the next generation consoles and which one you'll be going for. And try and convince me about the Xbox, because I'm not sure that lower powered variant is good. I would have rather seen them come out and say, right, we're not going to have two versions, we're just going to have one at like 400 and split the difference. I can dream. Anyway, guys, take it easy.